We have family members that love us, care about us, but some of them are just not as willing to accept our choice of hobby and our love for reptiles in this case. So today, I kind of want to discuss how one should maybe go about dealing with anti-reptile family members and different approaches they can take to maybe get them to be a little more accepting, or maybe at least be on a level that there's no issue. Let's get to it, guys. Hey guys, how's it going? You know, it's the beginning of a new year, probably completely bald. Yellow Aki, Reptile. Hey guys, how's it going? So, while I don't really have family members that exactly want to maybe kill or go a little extra with my reptiles, I do have my mom who really does not like reptiles, particularly snakes. She will not go hiking on a trail that says there might be snakes. She is just not thrilled with them. And I don't really try to understand it all. I just accept it for what it is. But I do think some of what I've been doing here on this channel and just in general keeping reptiles has opened her a little bit up to accepting reptiles into her family's lives and into her own life. So I want to share some of the things that I think might help you out if you're dealing with anti-reptile family members and really just want to maybe see if you can get them on your side a little bit better, or just warm them up a little bit to the concept of reptiles and you keeping them. Alright, let's talk about it, guys. The first thing I recommend, and this is a very plain and obvious one that's simple to do, if your family member is accepting enough of reptiles, even though they're not thrilled with them, for you to actually have one and them being okay with it, I think that's a great first step to doing it, because I've seen so many examples, hearing from other people and having my own experiences, of people actually getting reptiles and then their anti-reptile family member or members start spending a little bit of time around them, I guess, or being intrigued might be the best way to go about it. Asking questions about them, looking at them even from afar and just checking them out. It brings their idea, their concept of existence more readily into their life to where they have to deal with it and interact with them in some way, even if it's not one-on-one directly. This is the whole idea behind what we're trying to do with reptiles as it is. Get them more normalized so they're more accepted and more people enjoy them and don't want to hurt them and are scared of them. We're doing that exactly with those anti-reptile family members by bringing them around them and educating them and letting them see that they're not just some scary foreign thing. They can be quite enjoyable, just like a dog or a cat. Take this baby, for example, wearing his cute little Super Mario shirt. Some people don't know if they want kids. Some people don't know if they'll do well with kids. Well, the best way to figure that out is to play with someone else's kids or be around a kid, see what they're like, and interact with them. It's not all that bad, right? All around me are familiar faces. A lot of those people, and I will say not all of them, some people just don't want kids, find out that they're really not that bad and they're quite enjoyable. You can learn a lot. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, there are some bad sides. You got to deal with some stanky poops. But something foreign to you becomes readily accepted very easily as you go day to day, hour to hour being with them and seeing that they're not going to kill you, they're not going to hurt you, they're not going to do anything to you, and the reason why you're scared really is just fiction, it's not reality. Our minds, as brilliant as they are, can play tricks on us a little bit, and sometimes we create these fantasies and let our mind wander and think that reality is not quite reality and things existing that we're not quite used to are scary got him! And dangerous and harmful, and will do things that we won't like. So you gotta get over that, and the best way to get over that is just by interacting with that fear. Real quick, if you guys have an anti-reptile family member that you live with or that you know of that needs some convincing, definitely smash that subscribe button in the lower right hand corner and hit the bell as well for a little bit of luck in your efforts to convince them. And of course, more wonderful reptile conversations to come on the channel. Thanks, guys. Okay, so we got the reptile in the door. That's a huge step right there. The best next thing you can do is just be hands off. Lay off the anti-reptile family member. Don't push the envelope. Don't immediately try to get more. Don't immediately try to get them to interact with the reptile. Just let them have their natural curiosity peak. I've noticed that once you have the reptile in the door, these anti-reptile family members, they start to gain some interest and ask some questions about the reptile and start to get a little interested. Sometimes your intellectual side just can't hold back anymore and they really want to know what's going on. This is where you want to engage. Don't get too overhyped. You want to be pretty relaxed and not try to jump on the opportunity, but you want to answer their questions with enthusiasm. You want to be passionate about this reptile. Even offer to show off the reptile a little bit, see if they're willing to kind of go the extra step, or at least kind of get them into the reptile's vicinity, you know what I mean? Or the reptile room if you have one of those, but I think we're talking from the standpoint that this is the only reptile you have. Luckily, for the most part, if you have your own place, you determine what you have in your own place. You know, you're the ruler of your own domain. So if you want reptiles, you can get reptiles. So when I'm in my reptile room and my mom's visiting, and even Olivia, she's not anti-reptile, but it's not the most thrilling thing in her life. When I'm in there, they come in, say hello sometimes, and then they start asking questions because I'm doing reptile room stuff, and that just leads to conversation, and they actually get a little interested and spend a little time looking at them and sometimes even compliment them. But overall, what this boils down to is you don't want to push the envelope. Let them go to the reptile and not bring the reptile to them. Don't force it upon them. Don't put the reptile on them. That's just going to make them more afraid and not ready and out of their element, and they're going to be less likely to come around if you do things like that. Let's say you're not living on your own and you're living with this anti-reptile family member and you can't get the reptile in the door. They're not willing to budge that much. Well, the best thing you could do is kind of what we already been discussing, education, but you can't do it with an actual reptile. You're going to have to intrigue them with some knowledge, talk about the positives of owning a reptile, and talk about you personally. If one thing should matter to this family member, it should be your own well-being, your own happiness. So I would try to compromise with them and communicate with them how much this would mean to you, how much this would impact your life, and what you would be willing to do to calm their fears. I think compromise is perfect, and any family member, anybody that cares about you, should be willing to meet halfway in most cases. And back on the education front, being that you don't have an animal in the house to educate them with and show them that it's all going to be okay with this reptile, I would try to do the next best thing and show them the reptile you want to get, but outside the house. Say you're getting a bearded dragon, you can find those in a lot of places, pet stores, an expo. An expo might be great. Expos are super fun. Even my girlfriend loves them, and like I said, she's not a super reptile fan. Not that she doesn't like them, but she's not really into them. But expos, they're really cool. They're just like an event going on. Plus, it's something nice to do on a weekend where you might not have any plans. Other than expos, you can maybe go to a friend who has that particular reptile that's willing to have you over and bring that reptile out and just show it off. And maybe you handling them seeing the reptile in person, that might give them a different idea of what you're truly getting. For the most part, a lot of people kind of create, again, a fantasy of this reptile being sort of dangerous, having large teeth, probably being bigger than they expected, elements like that. So seeing it up close in person, but from a good distance, since they're not going to be really into touching and handling a reptile, that might give them a little bit more comfort if you were to get one. This also applies to if you're a kid living with your parents. Say you're in high school, you want a reptile. It might be a little bit more difficult because you're not really on equal levels there. You don't have as much say as your parents. But this approach is probably the best darn thing you can probably do to try to convince them. And I think most parents, unless absolutely terrified, like my mom, would be willing to see this reptile, I guess, or give it a shot and be willing to be convinced, I guess, ultimately, is what I'm trying to say. Going back to having a reptile in the door, meaning that the family member that, in this case, you're probably living with, is accepting of you keeping a reptile in the household, one thing you can do to put them at ease and make them more comfortable is set some rules. Make them feel comfortable by having boundaries that they know you will not go over or interrupt. Having boundaries will grant them specific safeties that make them feel better in the environment, such as the reptile cannot be in this room. you can only have them out for an hour between these hours, or only have them out in this room, or something like that. Some element of they know the reptile's not going to be in the kitchen. They know the reptile's not going to be in the living room, so they're comfortable in the living room. Stuff like that. They have their own safe space. If you're secretly planning on getting more reptiles and haven't told them, I think this in particular is a good thing to do and will definitely improve your chances of them accepting more reptiles into the household. Be able to show that you're willing to work with their boundaries and their limitations and not push over them and interrupt their lives with something they truly don't want. Last thing I could probably recommend to you guys is if you're in an equal position of power relationship with that family member, I guess this wouldn't really be a family member, I guess it would be, but more of a relationship type of thing, a long-winded way of me saying relationship. Supporting your partner's hobby would be a great way to get their support for your hobby. Olivia, my girlfriend's passion is art, and I like to support her art as much as I possibly can. Really has nothing to do with my hobby, but I have to say it's definitely beneficial towards my hobby because she supports me like I support her. She's a great artist, and I want to see her dreams come true, so that's why I mostly support her. But it's definitely great for the relationship and great for each other to know you have each other's back. So I think this is a good one to sort of end on this point here, that supporting the other person that's not super thrilled with reptiles is a good way to get some support back, or at least the opportunity to show that living with reptiles or you getting a reptile is all not that bad and worth the risk of them feeling a little uncomfortable. But yeah, guys, I think that's all I have for you for today, all I can think of at least. These are definitely methods that I feel like give you the best opportunity to get a reptile if you haven't had a reptile, or open up the anti-reptile family member to you keeping more reptiles or just being more comfortable with the reptile you keep. Let me know if any of these have worked for you in the past, or if you try one of these out for some time, let me know how it goes. I would love to hear about it. Other than that, guys, I would really appreciate it if you like, comment, and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks, everyone.